at the forefront of politics.
Our enemy is Trump. He is the enemy. We got to unite. If we're not a united party, we lose to Trump.
On the front lines of activism.
There's certain fights, if we don't engage, they win. This is a fundamental question of who we are.
And delivering your daily dose of comedy.
Donald Trump, when he had his physical, they had his blood pressure, and mine is higher than his. Oh. And the irony is mine is higher because of him.
From the blue wave.
We flipped enough seats to take control of the House. We control the House.
To 2020 and beyond. This is the Dean Obeidallah Show on Sirius XM Progress, Channel 127.
And welcome to the show, brothers and sisters. Tuesday, October 1st. It's showtime. That's right, it's showtime. Lauren's rolling her eyes at me. It is showtime. I'm Dean Obeidallah, hoping to be your MBFF. I'm on Twitter nonstop. I've got a problem. I need some help, but I'm there at Dean Obeidallah all the time, waiting for you to follow me. I'll follow you back. I'm your buddy. I'll be there, MBFF. So the new magic number, 399. We are within 400 days to the most important election of our life, November 3rd, 2020. At this point, we clearly do not know who the Democratic nominee will be for president on that ballot. And I'll have to be blunt. I think we don't know for certain who the Republican nominee will be on the ballot November 3rd, 2020. Very well could be Trump, could be Mike Pence, could be somebody else. We don't know. But we do know one thing, regardless of who they nominate, we have to crush that person. Got to take the White House back, take the Senate, keep the House, pass laws that help our fellow Americans, not just the wealthy, protect health care, as opposed to Donald Trump. Daily reminder, I should do this almost every day, daily reminder, right now, Donald Trump, his DOJ is in the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals trying to take away your coverage and your family's coverage for pre-existing health conditions. That's right. They're trying to gut the ACA. They're in federal court arguing for that. That means no more coverage for you or your family for any pre-existing medical conditions. The idea your kids can stay in a policy to 26, no more. The list goes on. That's what they're doing. So those are the big issues. So Democrats are moving really quickly on this impeachment. But first, last night Hillary Clinton was on Colbert. Something funny happened organically. I've got to play it. Here's clip number 1, please.
Your fault for coming on Ukraine week. Now, we learned about the Trump-Ukraine call of the private server. Is it time to, dare I say, lock him up? What do you make of it?
Lock him up. Actually, it should be lock them up. And that's what we're going to talk about today. The Democrats, after months and months of hemming and hawing to the point of frustration for all of us, they are acting so swiftly, and it's by design. This is all Speaker Pelosi's doing. They are hitting Trumper after Trumper with subpoena. Just a few days alone, Pompeo, Giuliani, State Department officials. I think they're getting ready to serve Bill Barr. And all Speaker Pelosi's doing. Now, it reminds me, and I love The Godfather movie and being half Sicilian, it reminds me of near the end of the movie, Michael Corleone sits down, talks about family business being done. Just picture, this is sort of like him talking to Donald Trump. Here's clip number 2.
Barzini's dead. So is Philip Tattaglia. Mo Green. Stracci. Cuneo. Today I settle all family business, so don't tell me you're innocent.
That's right. I just love to sit there. Pompeo, Giuliani, Barr, Pence. Today we took care of all American family business. So Donald Trump, don't tell me you're innocent, because he's not innocent. I have no doubt Donald Trump will be impeached. Will he be removed in the Senate? That's the only question. Will he be impeached? Absolutely. The question is, who will be impeached with him? Will the Democrats take the next step? Will they impeach others? Giuliani is not eligible for impeachment. He's eligible for criminal prosecution. That's separate. Pompeo, though. Bill Barr. Potentially Mike Pence. But let's go through what the Democrats have done in merely the last few days. Subpoena after subpoena on Trump. And what I love about this, it's taking the fight to them. It's pushing the media narrative the right way. It's showing we are aggressive, showing we care about this country. And it has them on their heels. And all Trump has been doing for days is whining. This guy, his last tweet of the day is about Donald Trump. His first tweet of the day is about Donald Trump. I don't know about you, but I'd like a president whose last thought of the day and first thought of the day is how they can help the American people. Is that too much to ask for? But whining is winning to the GOP's base. To us, it's hashtag pathetic. So let's see and I want to take you through this because there's so much in the media to show you, though, what the Democrats are doing. They served yesterday a subpoena on Rudy Giuliani, requesting by October 15th, just 2 weeks from now, all text messages, phone records, and other communications they referred to as possible evidence. And they also wanted to depose 3 of Giuliani's longtime business associates. 2 of them were on the ground in Kiev in Ukraine trying to get dirt on Joe Biden. The third, Sam Kislin, a business guy from Brighton Beach here in Brooklyn with alleged mob ties. These are who Giuliani's people are. Keep in mind, Rudy Giuliani is not just Donald Trump's attorney in this case. He's potentially a fact witness and potentially a defendant. And we will see how that plays out. I think Bill Barr's DOJ will be subpoenaed. I think Bill Barr will be subpoenaed. There's no doubt in my mind. First, his name was invoked in the whistleblower complaint. It was invoked in the transcript that Trump revealed. He said many times, go talk to Bill Barr, that you telling the Ukrainian president, Bill Barr will contact you. And then you've got now reports that Bill Barr is traveling the world trying to gather evidence to undermine the FBI's investigation into Russia's attack on our election. All for Trump's doing. Again, this is Trump using our government as his own personal apparatus, which is abuse of power. Now here's Mike Pence. I wish we had more, and I'm going to do more research to see if anything else, because at some point, Pence will be ensnared in this. To what extent is the question? But what we do know now is that phone call was July 25th. What we do know now is Mike Pompeo was on that phone call. We do know now there was a transcript generated by that, and certainly Mike Pence, as VP, has clearance to everything. Was he on the phone call? I don't know. Did he read the transcript? We don't know. Was this talked about? For months they talked about with Giuliani publicly in public reporting that he was speaking to the Ukraine beginning in May. So when Mike Pence on September 2nd, this is after the phone call, met with the Ukrainian leader and talked about corruption, I'll read his quote, was that code for, I talked about Joe Biden? His exact quote, Mike Pence on September 2nd, after meeting the Ukrainian president, is, I will carry back to President Trump the progress that he, being the Ukrainian president, his administration and Ukraine are making on dealing with corruption in their country. Was that real corruption? Or was that investigation into Biden and Hunter Biden? Is it this statement that led to the release of the aid to the Ukrainian government days later? We don't know, but Mike Pence has to answer questions. Did he know about this? When he met with the Ukrainian president, did he bring up Joe Biden? Then he's involved, certainly coming under scrutiny now. And I want to lay some of this out because this is very important in looking at the big picture and getting a sense that, we've talked so much about Trump being like a crime boss and having a crime family. It seems Trump has created a crime family now with Pompeo, Giuliani, Bill Barr, potentially Mike Pence, and others around him. On Friday, 3 House committee chairs, Democrats, served a subpoena on Mike Pompeo over his failure to produce documents. They've been requesting documents. Pompeo stonewalled them. In this letter, it says that your failure or refusal to comply with the subpoena shall constitute evidence of obstruction of the House's impeachment inquiry. In addition to the subpoena, the chairman requested to schedule depositions for 5 State Department officials who have been mentioned in relation to this inquiry, including Ambassador Maria Yovanovitch, Ambassador Kurt Volker, Deputy Assistant Secretary George Kent, and Counselor Ulrich Breckbalt, and Ambassador Gordon Sondland. 4 of them were named in the whistleblower complaint. And what's very interesting is one of them was named in Donald Trump's transcript he released to us. The ambassador, Yovanovitch. She was recalled from her post suddenly in May 2019. We don't know why. But we know in the phone call Donald Trump said about her to the Ukraine president, this is the transcript they released from the White House, quote, the former ambassador, speaking of Yovanovitch, from the U.S., the woman was bad news, and the people she was dealing with in Ukraine were bad news. So I just want you to let you know that. What we're going to find out clearly is that this ambassador did not want to play the Trump reindeer games of getting dirt on Joe Biden. And so they recalled her. Kurt Volker, one of the other people, he resigned last week. We're going to find out a lot more about him. He's going to testify soon. Michael Atkinson, the current inspector general for the intelligence community who Trump appointed, will be speaking Friday to staffers for the Intel Committee. A lot is going on. Democrats are going hard. But here's the thing. Pompeo started fighting back today. This is not in his best interest, and it's not in Trump's best interest, and I'll explain why in a second here. Pompeo today released a letter on Twitter saying he's being bullied and intimidated by the Democrats, saying, I am concerned with the aspects of your request to the House Democrats described more fully below that can be understood only as an attempt to intimidate, bully, and treat improperly the distinguished professionals of the Department of State. Bully and intimidate is all Donald Trump. This afternoon, House Democrats responded. They said Secretary Pompeo was reportedly on the call when President pressured Ukraine to smear his political opponent. If true, Secretary Pompeo is now a fact witness in the House impeachment inquiry. He should stop intimidating department witnesses who want to testify. And the fact that you have Pompeo and Giuliani now, he's not part of the administration. He's debating if he's going to comply with the subpoena. But the fact that Pompeo won't, that falls perfectly into Democrats' plans. It'd be the worst case scenario. And I say that because the third article of impeachment with Richard Nixon was all about the fact that Richard Nixon refused and his administration refused to comply with duly authorized subpoenas. And I'll read the third article from the third article of impeachment of Richard Nixon, which was approved by the House Judiciary Committee. He resigned before it was voted on in the House, the full House, which is why he was not formally impeached. He would have been. He would have been the third president, but he was in. The House Judiciary Committee voted to hold 3 articles of impeachment against him. In that, it reads, Nixon has failed without lawful cause or excuse to produce papers and things as directed by duly authorized subpoenas issued by the Committee on the Judiciary of the House of Representatives and willfully disobeyed such subpoenas. In concluding, in all of this, Richard Nixon has acted in a manner contrary to his trust as president and subversive of constitutional government, to the great prejudice of the cause of law and justice, and to the manifest injury of the people of the United States of America. We're going to see that language with Donald Trump. But here's where Mike Pompeo is personally, I think, but we don't know for sure yet. I'm being measured here and responsible. We don't know for sure, but Mike Pompeo is covering something up. And I can tell you generally, as we all know, people cover up things because they don't want the truth to get out, because they know it is worse than the cover-up. And what happened here is we learned yesterday Mike Pompeo was on the July 25th phone call with Donald Trump, listening there. As Trump said, I got a favor to ask you, and goes on to talk about Joe Biden and Hunter Biden and the prosecutor and sending Bill Barr and Rudy Giuliani to talk to the president of Ukraine. He was on that phone call. We did not know that until yesterday. So to remind everyone what happened in the timeline, we didn't know that. No one knew that. What we do know, September 21st, the Wall Street Journal breaks the story before any transcript was released. And in it says, Trump in a July phone call repeatedly pressured the president of Ukraine to investigate Joe Biden's son, urging him about 8 times to work with Rudy Giuliani on a probe that could hamper Trump's potential 2020 opponent. That's September 21st. This is the reporting. This is the first story about this. No one knows anything. No transcript, no whistleblower complaint. We don't even know the phone calls for sure. But we know the next day, Mike Pompeo is on ABC's This Week and asked about the phone call. We did not know at this time that he was on that phone call. We know now he was on the phone call and heard all of it. And with that knowledge now, and with that hindsight of knowledge, I want you to listen to Mike Pompeo on ABC and try to figure out what is he covering up. Here's clip number 3.
I want to turn to this whistleblower complaint, Mr. Secretary. The complaint involving the president and a phone call with a foreign leader to the director of National Intelligence Inspector General. What do you know about those conversations?
So you just gave me a report about a high-seek whistleblower complaint, none of which I've seen.
And he didn't want to say I read one paragraph of it. So Mike Pompeo is on the very phone call that he's being asked about. And Mike Pompeo doesn't say, I can't answer that now. Of course he's not going to volunteer he's on the phone call. I get that. But he pretends he knows nothing about it. And that's not a crime. You can lie to the American people. There's no crime there. And at this time, there's no special prosecutor, so it's not obstruction. But common sense tells us he lied for a reason. He lied hoping we would never get the transcript. He lied hoping we would never know that he was on that phone call. And now the reality is we know that. And now we go back and play this clip. And you wonder why Mike Pompeo said that. So Mike Pompeo is going to have to personally testify why he lied. Why did he mislead the American people? Again, not a crime, but he was hiding something. Mike Pompeo's in over his neck. Don't forget, Rudy Giuliani said the State Department approved him speaking to the Ukrainians. And to remind everyone, in August, and I went back and looked this up, the State Department confirmed. They said Rudy can go talk to Ukraine. So Mike Pompeo is part of this. It is very likely, not definite, very likely that Mike Pompeo is a co-criminal conspirator in this. That we have crimes here. You've got the crime is, first of all, Donald Trump knowing and willfully violating Federal Election Commission laws by asking for something of value from a foreign national. It's that simple. You don't even need big hyperbolic words. That's the law. Knowing and willful makes it a felony, makes it a crime. Mike Pompeo is part of this. He is out there working with President Trump. And I hate the fact that I said President Trump, just a slip. Trump on working on gathering things of value from foreign nationals. That's a violation of the law because it's done for one purpose, to help in a 2020 campaign. And again, the timing tells you that. Joe Biden was involved in firing this prosecutor in March 2016. That's when this happened. Donald Trump is asking about it in July 2019. The day a poll comes out saying Joe Biden is beating Donald Trump by 10 points. A Fox News poll that Donald Trump tweeted about that morning, hours before speaking to the president of the Ukraine. These are not coincidences in the picture of a criminal conspiracy. They're filling in the gaps. But of course, Donald Trump knew Joe Biden was his number one person that he was against. And like Chris Liu made a great point last night on the show, Watergate was about Richard Nixon wanting to pick the person he could run against. He was fearful of that time Edmund Muskie. He wanted to run against George McGovern because in his view, George McGovern was a very, very far left guy. Muskie was more center left, better known. He thought he could beat him. So they do everything they can to undermine Edmund Muskie. They violate U.S. law by using the apparatus of government to do this very thing. It's a different crime, but same idea. It's abuse of power. In this case, Donald Trump is trying to use the apparatus of government to undermine his leading Democratic opponent, Joe Biden, so that he can choose who he can run against. And in his view, it's just get rid of Biden, whoever's next. And if Liz Warren becomes a nominee or Bernie Sanders, I cannot even think, I can't even contemplate how horrible the bigotry will be. If it's Bernie Sanders, you'll see levels of anti-Semitism that you've never seen in America. If it's Liz Warren, you will see vile anti-Native American garbage by Trump and his base spewing hateful garbage against them. And who else? Kamala Harris will see racist stuff. The list goes on. But so where is this all going, my friends? Donald Trump will be impeached. I will bet on that. I will pay people money. Donald Trump will be impeached. Will he be removed in the Senate? It's different. Will he be impeached? Yes. Will Mike Pompeo? I don't know. He should be. Will Bill Barr? Maybe. Mike Pence? Still need to gather some evidence on that. Rudy Giuliani charged with a crime? Possibly. But then Donald Trump will pardon him. What I will tell you, at some point when I was looking at the articles of impeachment passed by the Judiciary Committee against Richard Nixon, I want to read some of the closing language of the articles of impeachment. And I'm taking Richard Nixon's name out and putting Donald J. Trump. And I'm very confident we will hear language like this passed by the House Judiciary Committee and ultimately the full House of Representatives. And Donald Trump will become the third president in the United States history to be impeached. And that language will state that Donald J. Trump has acted in a manner contrary to his trust as president and subversive of constitutional government, to the great prejudice of the cause of law and justice, and to the manifest injury of the people of the United States. Wherefore, Donald J. Trump, by such conduct, warrants impeachment and trial and removal from office. You will hear those words at some point in the near future. I think within the next few months. In the House Judiciary Committee, there'll be a vote. I predict some Republicans will vote for it. Very few, but some. And then you'll have a full vote in the House. And then we will have a trial in the Senate. That's where we're going. Pompeo, Barr, maybe they resign. Maybe that happens. Maybe they get charged with crimes. There's no immunity, by the way, folks. The idea that only person in America who cannot be indicted in office is the president, which is why, and I'm writing about this, I think we need a law when Trump is gone called the Donald J. Trump Act. And this Donald J. Trump Act will say that a sitting president can be indicted while in office. And the reason I want Trump's name, and he loves his name on everything, I want his name on it to remind generations of Americans to come of the corruption and criminality of Donald J. Trump. So by having his name in that law, I hope for generations from now, in school, you're taught it in law school, in high school, in college, the Donald J. Trump law changed it. The DOJ memo could easily be overruled by Congress. It's just an internal memo. The Donald J. Trump Act is my dream. So let's take a break. We got a lot of great guests tonight. Giassi Ross will be with us. Ruth Ben-Ghiat, who is an expert on authoritarianism, to talk about what she's concerned about. Third hour, it's Tuesday, Law and Disorder. Danny Savalas will be here. We'll talk about some politics, but also the verdict in the case in Texas. And we'll talk about this castle doctrine, and how would a judge would allow a castle doctrine to apply not to your castle. That's outrageous, but let's wait for the third hour to talk about that. 866-997-4748. You're my guest. Love to hear from you. What do you think? Who else is going to be impeached? Who else should be impeached? Who else do you think will be implicated in the crimes and the criminality of Donald J. Trump? Be right back after this.
The Dean Obeidallah Show.
I think Trump clips that they play on the media should come with a health warning saying